also guarantees free movement of made-in-Africa goods.
This is what State House correspondent Adam Musambo has the report.
Our position is very simple. We support free trade as long as it's fair and conducted on an equitable basis.
As Africa's largest economy and most populous country, President Muhammadu Buhari said Nigeria cannot afford to rush into such agreements without full and proper consultation with relevant stakeholders. He, however, stated unequivocally that trade is important to the country.
Africa, therefore, needs not only a trade policy, but also a continental manufacturing agenda. Our vision for intra-African trade is for the free movement of made-in-Africa goods. That is, goods and services made locally with dominant African content in terms of raw materials and value addition. If we allow unbridled imports to continue, it will dominate our trade. The implication of this is that coastal importing nations will prosper while landlocked nations will continue to suffer and depend on aid.
The president attributed the nation's fundamental challenges of security, economy, and corruption to the inability of the country over the years to domesticate the production of the most basic requirements and create jobs for the vibrant, young, and dynamic population.
The African Continental Free Trade Area we aspire to have should therefore not only create wealth for investors, but also jobs and prosperity for our vibrant and hardworking citizens. The benefits of economic growth must be prosperity for the masses. Henceforth, we shall ensure that our negotiated agreements create business opportunities for Africa's manufacturers, service providers, and innovators.
President Buhari assured the committee that the report will form part of. Desmond Gobadia said the committee, which reviewed over 200 submissions, found out that 85% of Africa's total trade come from countries outside the continent.
The AfCFTA, therefore, provides immense opportunities for Nigeria's manufacturing and service companies to expand to Africa. Today, many Nigerian companies have developed capacity in some of these sectors and have long desired to expand to Africa, but have been constrained by trade barriers which AfCFTA is expected to remove.
The report, however, identified potential rise in smuggling as well as abuse of rules of origin as some of the major risks and undesirable impacts of the Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, complicated by lack of capacity, resources, and will on the part of some African countries to enforce their borders.
Our report shows that on the balance, Nigeria should consider joining the AfCFTA and using the opportunity of the ongoing AfCFTA Phase 1 negotiations to secure the necessary safeguards required to ensure that our domestic policies and programs are not compromised.
The committee suggested that in view of the potential impact of predatory trade on the nation's economy, Nigeria should consider the mobilization of ECOWAS and AU member countries to enforce the necessary safeguards. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission have been tasked to not only expand the nation's revenue sources and block leakages, but also ensure that the three arms and tiers of government are treated fairly and justly.
President Muhammadu Buhari threw the challenge while swearing in the new chairman and commissioners of the critical organization for Nigeria's economy. State House correspondent Adam Musambo again has details.
I will discharge my duties to the best of my ability.
Former Minister of State for Finance and one-time chairman of the commission, Chief Elias Mbam from Ebonyi State, returned as a new helmsman for another term of office. 29 others also took oath of office as commissioners representing the various states of the Federation. Their appointment, President Muhammadu Buhari said, was based on proven track records of hard work and integrity, hence the expectation of government that they will set to work in a business-like manner, rapidly and systematically in the execution of their mandate. He said all relevant laws and regulations on revenue collections and remittances must be applied towards boosting government's revenue sources as well as blocking leakages.
I therefore use this medium to call on the National Assembly to enact relevant and enabling laws that shall guarantee the Commission the legal ability to ensure that defaulters of revenue laws are appropriately sanctioned.
President Buhari restated federal government's commitment towards transforming the country and liberating poor Nigerians from the shackles of poverty by integrating rural economies to the national economic grid.
I set a target for our country to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years. This commitment is to further challenge the revenue mobilization, allocation, and fiscal commission to rise to its constitutional responsibilities and mandate.
Chairman of the Commission, Elias Mbam, on behalf of the commissioners, thanked the President for finding them worthy of serving the nation and promised to do whatever it takes towards justifying the trust and confidence reposed in them.
It was very clear in the address that we should deliver on our mandate. And I think we do just that. We concentrate more effort on how to increase the size of the cake for allocation to the 3 tiers of government instead of struggling to share a shrinking cake. So the Commission will key into the diversification program of the federal government with a view to finding other sources of revenue that will increase the sources to the federation account.
With the charge that the President has given us, we hope to look for ways and manners whereby leakages can be cut short within the revenue that accrue to the nation, and also other areas whereby we can bring in more revenues for the development of Nigeria.
What I'll bring on board is team effect, working with the chairman and other members to deliver on our mandate. And from the speech of Mr. President this afternoon, he has given a charge based on our constitutional mandate and duties. And that is where the focus will be. And I can assure you we will deliver.
The Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission has a constitutional mandate to, amongst others, monitor accruals to and disbursement of revenue from the Federation account, review the nation's revenue allocation formula, as well as determine remunerations appropriate for political and public office holders. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In another development, President Muhammadu Buhari has reacted to the failed coup attempt in Ethiopia. In a statement released in his capacity as the chairman of ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, and on behalf of the regional organization, the president has strongly condemned the coup attempt in the Amhara region and the tragic events in the capital of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, which occurred on Saturday, 22nd June 2019. He expressed deep sympathy and condolences to the families of the victims of the coup attempt and to the people and government of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. President Buhari also reaffirms the imperatives for the adherence to relevant African Union instruments, principally the Constitutive Acts of the African Union and the Lomé Declaration on the Unconstitutional Change of Government, adding that the ECOWAS is committed to the ideals of the African Union on democracy, elections, and good governance adopted at the 8th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia in 2007. He therefore urged all concerned to exercise maximum restraint and avoid any action that could undermine the peace, unity, and stability of Ethiopia.
And Nigerian's Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and his American counterpart, Mike Pence, held discussions in the White House with both leaders, affirming the mutual benefit inherent in a deeper bilateral relationship between both countries. In a statement released by Laolu Akonde, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Office of the Vice President indicates that at a meeting, both Vice President in their discussions on economy, military assistance and other issues, affirmed the need for continuous observation of the rule of law, while also noting Nigerians' pride of peace on the African continent and Americans' reputed global leadership. Issues discussed include how to counter extremism, the threat of global terrorism, and the continuous observation of the rule of law, among others. Both leaders agreed on the need to strengthen the economy and markets generally.
The Nigerian government has repudiated claims by a group styling itself as Northern Christian Elders in an email to a British Parliamentary Association, falsely alleging that the Muhammadu Buhari administration is practicing bigotry and alienating Christians. The letters were written to Right Reverend Philip Mountstephen, a former secretary of the Church Missionary Society and now head Independent Review of Foreign and Commonwealth Office, support of persecuted Christians, and to Baroness Berridge, the chair of All Parliamentary Group for International Freedom of Religion or Belief.
And outrightly false allusions to the effect that the Boko Haram terrorism served a government agenda against Christians. The statement signed by Nigeria's High Commissioner to UK, George Adetola Oguntade, told Reverend Philip Mountstephen that the safety and security of all Nigerians, whatever their faith, is a fundamental priority of the Buhari government, emphasizing that the government knows that Nigeria can only achieve its potential if there is religious tolerance and cooperation. The High Commissioner explained that President Buhari's vice president is a pastor and that the president has befriended church leaders and church groups both within and outside Nigeria. He added that the president's cabinet is balanced between Muslims and Christians. The envoy said he himself was a former chancellor of the Church of Nigeria, Anglican Communion. According to Justice Oguntade, Vice President Oshinbajo has maintained regular contacts with Christians and Muslim leaders as part of efforts to build and sustain interfaith dialogue. Explaining that the country's security challenges have no ethnic and religious colorations, he said farmers and herders' clashes predated the Buhari administration and that such clashes bordered a desire for pasture by the herders and the desire to protect crops from encroachment and destruction by farmers. Oguntade noted that these clashes had a long history and the Buhari administration is taking a major step to address the root cause of these crises and violent clashes, pitting Muslim and Christian farmers alike against the herders. Adding that the issue of grazing routes is historically central to these conflicts and the Buhari administration is taking a holistic approach to the matter with a view to ending it once and for all, so that Nigerians can live in peace with one another. The envoy added that government would ensure that the competition over scarce land is resolved peacefully for the benefits of all parties. The government also rejected attempts by the reporting group to link Boko Haram terrorism with the official policy, stating clearly that this incident predated the Buhari administration, hence a problem, like many others, that were inherited on coming to office in 2015. He said criminal groups such as the Boko Haram terrorists who kill Muslims and Christians don't represent Muslims, adding that the Buhari administration is already determined to degrade and defeat murderous gangs of savages.
You're watching the news on NTA News 24. More news after this break. Welcome back. Now moves to ensure cordial working relationship between the Nigerian police and the 9th Senate has commenced. Few days after the Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, visited the Senate President Ahmed Lawan, the chairman of the Police Service Commission, Musiliu Smith, has also met with a former Commissioner of Police, Hezekiah Imka, who is now a serving senator. They both resolved to work closely for a better legislative intervention by the 9th Senate, devoid of friction.
Don't get tired. Take us along. Keep on carrying us along. Give us the advice you think we can, use to project the interests and the peace of this country. As a policeman, retired, it's my responsibility to be sure that, security is maintained. I must be sure that there's safety of lives and property. And whatever comes out in that respect in the Senate should be able to have a word or two to be sure that we move to the next level.
Later we'll have details of which, as we continue to relate, is the area of funding of security. You don't get good security without commensurate funding. Just like even like the judiciary, yes, it needs good administration of justice, faster, swift. You have to be ready to pay for it.
Musiliu Smith is a former Inspector General of Police.
We still have more reports on security. The Nigerian Air Force has launched Operation Green Sweep 2 against terrorist elements in the northeastern part of the country. NAV Director, Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ibikule Daramola, says the operation, which commenced on 26 June 2019 through the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole, targets selected locations within the northeast in order to further degrade the remnants of the terrorists, as well as deny them safe havens and freedom of action. The first attack has so far resulted in the obliteration of an Islamic State of West Africa province tactical headquarters and neutralization of several terrorists at Kularam in northern Borno State, and was executed following series of intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions that showed accurate location of ISWAP fighters along the communication facilities.
Meanwhile, troops on Operation Hadarin Daji have rescued 49 kidnapped persons, neutralized 15 bandits, and arrested 20 others in Zamfara State.
The force commander, Major General Jide Ogunlade, said this at a press conference in Gusau. Jamilu Ibrahim has more.
The nomenclature of the ongoing special military operations in Zamfara State was recently changed from Operation Sharandaji to that of Hadarandaji to effectively consolidate on the gains so far recorded by the operation. The Nigerian Army says the reorganization has started yielding the desired results. Force commander of the operation highlights the major achievements recorded by the troops within the past few days, which include rescue of 49 kidnapped persons, recovery of more than 2,000 Rasul cattle, neutralization of 15 suspected bandits, and arrest of 20 others. Other significant success recorded by the troops within the period were the interception of some trucks loaded with food items and logistics being transported to the armed bandits in the bush. The force commander, who advised the bandits to urgently embrace dialogue or face the full wrath of the operation, says the theater is being reorganized to meet up with the changing trends and the activities of the armed bandits.
If they want peace, let them show sign or indicate that they want peace. The only way or the only sign that they want peace is for them to cease fire and then approach us to drop their arms. Anything other than that is not acceptable.
Weapons recovered by the troops include 11 AK-47 rifles, 40 locally made guns, and more than 2,400 rounds of ammunition, motorcycles, among others. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Nigeria has been commended for its commitment to the growth of justice and peace both at its local level and on the international stage.
President of the International Court gave the commendation in Abuja during a visit to the FCT High Court. Judiciary correspondent Femi Okewo reports.
I apologize for the lack of audio on that film report. Moving on now, the inauguration of the Baro Inland Waterport by President Muhammadu Buhari in February this year gave the people of the area hope for renewed economic prosperity.
4 months after lack of supporting infrastructure has hampered the utilization of the multi-million naira port. Dauda Mohammed has more on this.
After the initial euphoria, many residents of Baro are now appealing for the completion of the remaining support infrastructure for them to start benefiting from the potentials of the inland port.
If the Baro port is made very well and the ship are bringing loads, you know we'll be benefiting from it. Even if I have no benefits, my brothers will benefit from it.
The port won't work because we are having bad road, most especially from Bidan, Agaye to Baro, and Gulu side to Baro, then from Baro to Lokoja here.
First development of Baro is road. If there is no road, there is no any development.
The economic potentials for Baro are vast. Apart from the inland water port, it boasts of lush green vegetation for farming, rivers for fishing, and picturesque views and other landmarks for tourist attraction. Despite its potentials, Baro is still lacking in key social amenities like water, electricity, and a road network.
We want to appeal to the government to provide, to fund the project. Whenever it is due, let money be given to them so that they will continue with the work.
Another aspect needing attention is security, with the gradual influx of people from diverse backgrounds into the town. The police outpost in the area is inadequate to provide cover to the residents. The concept of Baro Inland Water Port is just like any other the world over, which is meant to ease the pressure on roads by bringing in heavy-duty goods through the inland waterways to discharge. However, one important aspect of the port that is needed for it to function effectively is the issue of roads and the railway system, which are lacking for now. From Baro, Agay local government area of Niger State, Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
And Labour is to ignite political consciousness to propel workers to contribute their quota to nation building.
This call dominated discussions in Abuja at the 11th Triennial Delegates Conference of the Trade Union Congress, expected to produce new leadership that will pilot the affairs of the Congress for another 3 years. Emmanuel Ayimiro tells us more.
Prior to Nigeria's independence in 1960, the organized labor was known for its contributions to national politics through the involvement of labor in the struggle for independence. Today, that political consciousness is gradually dying among workers. The Triennial Delegate Conference of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria wants professionals to participate in politics by bringing their expertise and experiences to bear on the nation and not leave the game to politicians alone.
We must reconnect because the issue of development and democracy are so linked together that you cannot change policy if you are not even within the system.
All Nigerian workers to collaborate with the federal government to fight corruption to a standstill.
Consider my service as president of the Congress as another level of school. What I have learned so far has further shaped my thought and perception to issues.
Joining Labour to canvass for a joint effort towards nation building, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, says the conference is coming at a time when Nigeria needs every sector to grow the economy, which does not exclude labor unions.
We will, over the next 10 years, create at least 10 million jobs yearly in order to boost our economy and make life better for our people.
Anytime from now, new leaders will emerge from the conference. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
There is $4 billion in a sealed envelope, but it will neither be opened nor disbursed, except there is a pointer to Human Development Project for the utilization of the fund.
World Bank Country Director said this at a meeting with members of the Nigerian Governors Forum in Abuja. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday reports.
Lack of judicious utilization of funds, analysts say, erodes trust in government and undermines social contracts. But countries that are capable of confronting corruption use their human and financial resources more efficiently, attract more investment, and grow more rapidly. thanks to President Buhari's determination to fight corruption to a halt and give Nigeria a new image in the Committee of Nations. And as state governors begin a 4-year cycle, how to meet the demands of the people is the reason the forum is meeting Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the World Bank.
Are used for the intended purposes.
Although ready to support, the World Bank will only collaborate with states that have education, health, and other human development programs.
This new team of both the returning governor as well as new governor, we have a way forward, because at the end of the day, it's not about how much money is being dispersed. It's about how much life are we able to collectively transform. Are we able to bring livelihood and support to the much needed poor people in this region?
Chairman of the forum, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, assured all development partners of accountability.
And how to build on those projects that have transitioned from one governor to another. Because periods of transition can be challenging, and address whatever gaps that there are without throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
The forum's chairman gave a marching order to members to take advantage of the partnership for maximum dividends of democracy to the people. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday, NTA News.
You're watching the news at 10 on NTA News 24. It's time for a break. When we return, more reports. Stay with us.